one of the things we should talk about is just money. I mean, how many people the conversation starts off with the homeowner going, I paid X and I got 10% of X,
Right.
or 2% of X,
Right.
or negative X.
Yeah.
And I think we probably unpack a little bit.
Wow. Yeah. There's a lot.
It's like, where do you start?
There's a lot. I mean, well, I think where generally it starts is with expectations that the homeowner has at the beginning of a project and what it's going to cost them. I think when they have in their head what something's going to cost them, I don't think that they anticipate that there's could be things that arise along the way that is going to necessarily raise the price of what they're having done at their home.
Right.
I think on one part, that's some just homeowners not really understanding or knowing or not going through this type of thing often. It's the kind of thing that a good contractor or a good builder is in a place to explain that to the owner and sort of kind of act as the tour guide through the project, right? Like the builder, this is what they do every day. Like it's almost, think about it, and that happens here at our law firm. Not everyone uses a lawyer every day. So when
Right.
they come here, they're looking for us to tell them what to expect. And I think that's similarly, that's what a builder's in a position, or a contractor in a position, to talk to the owners about what to expect when it comes to the cost of what they're looking for. After that, it becomes a matter of the flow of the money. That's the next big issue that arises, right? So the flow of the money is, how frequently and are you making payments to the contractor, and how big are those payments? From a homeowner's perspective, the more money you give to the contractor up front or early on in the project, and unless you're holding, the less leverage that leaves you later on.
Right.
And so, and I don't want to encourage necessarily owners to look at it like a win-lose situation where you're, I need to hold on to this so that way, to the detriment of my builder
Right.
or contractor.
Well,
But I think there is a right way to structure the payments, right? We talk about the bell curve of
Right.
payments, right? Where you have, whatever you're let's say you're making 5 payments throughout, your first and your last payment should be identical.
Well, and let me interrupt you for a second. It doesn't have to only be 5 payments.
Sure.
There's nothing that says, one of the things we do in a bell curve payment, and just to back this up, is, let's say there's 100 payments, and you have 100 benchmarks. Payments should be to a benchmark.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't mean you have to write 100 checks or send 100 invoices, but you can have 100 benchmarks.
Right.
Hey, final plans were delivered. Contract has been signed.
Right.
2x4s ordered. Dumpster delivered. Windows ordered.
Mm-hmm.
So you could have all these things, all these benchmarks, and put dollar amounts to them. And that way you know what you are putting your money towards.
Right.
I found that simple tool, and there isn't a builder. If there is a builder that's like, no, I don't want to do that, that's a red flag.
Sure.
Because that protects both of you.
Right.
You don't have to get paid until you're doing something. You don't have to pay somebody unless they did the thing.
Right.
So, and going back to what you said before about the tour guide, look, you can change the path.
Yeah.
To use your famous session, we're going to the moon.
Right.
It's not a straight line. You're going to zigzag, and the route that you take, can change a little bit. It's got to work. You should be able to tailor it. Most of the time, at least from our experience, when the contractor has been pounding his fist, this is the way we always do it. This is the way. This is yeah, that's a problem.
Yeah.
Because the world has changed, especially in the past couple of years, just with inflation coming in. It's not what we expect. We all have an idea in our head. You go to Costco or a restaurant. You had an idea in your head of what it should cost, and you get the bill, and you go like, "Holy smokes, where did that go?" And then you pull that receipt out, and you see it. Well, now multiply that by 1,000, and now you're scratching the surface of a major home renovation.
Yeah.
So I think definitely going in, spending much more time in understanding what you're getting, how it's going to be delivered would help.
Right. Right. And I think when it comes to the payments, so we've been talking about milestones, and but then there are those builders or contractors that work on milestones, right? So milestones reached, this payment is made, or this money is earned. But then there's the contracts that set it up that, you know, on a monthly basis, the contractor or the builder is going to put in an application for payment, and you know, there's maybe a schedule of values, and each thing that he's doing at your home might have a value to it, and he, at the end of the month, tallies up, all right, I'm 50% done with this line item, which we agreed was a $16,000 item, so I want to be paid $8,000 for that at this payment request, and it just becomes a tally sheet of how much progress they've made percentage-wise on each of these line items, and then at the end of it, there's a total dollar figure that represents how far they've made it through the project. What I find is difficult for a lot of homeowners who are operating on their own in this, and trying to deal with this on their own, is they don't know. They don't know what percentage done the rough plumbing is when the contractor says, hey, I finished it. And they also don't know whether the work that was done was really done correctly. Was it really done to the plans? And so that's where getting some, you know, advice and expertise in your corner during a project to kind of to handle these things, so you know you're not overpaying along the way, and that the contractor is actually where they say they are in the progress of the job is one of the biggest keys to having a successful project when it's sizable, when it's a major home renovation or, you know, custom home build especially.